Austin and this new opportunity. He says, we're absolutely thrilled to welcome Austin Ainge as our new president of basketball operations. Austin is one of the brightest minds in the NBA. His 17 years with the Celtics have given him incredible insight into every part of an organization. I've watched him grow into an accomplished, innovative, and strategic basketball executive who's ready to lead this organization. Wow, that little last part is very interesting. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to work in partnership with Justin Zanuck, right? And I've been praying for Justin Zanuck. I was praying for Danny Ainge till I found out he's just playing golf all the time. I'm kidding. I know he works, but he doesn't work 80 hours a week like he did with the Celtics. So I guess you get 40 hours of Ainge the father and 40 hours of Ainge the son, and there's your 80 hours. And so things are going to turn around for the Jazz. Here's a guy who's clearly it's in his family, and I think some people go, well, I guess we're in a world of nepotism, and it's a thing. Nepotism is a thing in sports. Kyle Shanahan. You can go through Wade Phillips is the son of in the NFL. Big deal. Big nepotism issues, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it does happen. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm excited about it in a sense that, look, anyone who's been with the Celtics and been with the Celtics for the past 17 years, anyone who's been around Danny Ainge, and I'm sure no one's been around Danny Ainge more than his son. I think it would be cool to hang out with my son and have him come to work every day. Like to have old Zachar here on the radio every day would be awesome. So I think I'm not opposed to that at all. I think it's very cool. But of course, Austin Ainge, I have to believe, being in that organization, seeing it from all sides. He was actually a coach for the G League for the Celtics for a couple of years. So he's kind of been just like Danny Ainge was. Now Austin wasn't a player, but he's certainly got an understanding of all aspects of what goes into a basketball team. And I love that they're being proactive about this at the Jazz. I have to wonder. So this is the one thing for me. And when I heard this, and I'm like, okay, so he's the director of basketball operations. Like he's what does that mean? Is that like everything? Is that like part? Because if I'm Justin Zanuck, like not everyone gets along. Just so you know that, Martin. Not everyone like. And I'm like, well, wait, Justin Zanuck, am I not doing enough? Am I not doing a good job here? And do I need help? Am I, And the statement has been that they're going to focus on two different aspects of running the team. But you saw kind of some of the things that were happening in Denver. And where the management, and I'm not saying they got it wrong here. Honestly, I don't know, right? And I don't think you ever know. I think on paper, the resume certainly, the Celtics have been successful, and he's been a part of it. He's been part of the reason for it. So you can't argue it. But does the meshing of these two people that are running the operations of the Utah Jazz, are they going to work together? And I don't know, or is Justin Zanuck going? Because I'll just tell you, blood is thicker than water.
That's true.
Okay, and it's just thicker than water. And if I'm going into business,
okay,
I don't want to be in business where I'm not on the blood side of things. I'm okay if we're all water,
right?
I'm okay if like you come from your background and mine from mine, and we're the most qualified people for the job, great. But I would be nervous because you're as objective as you want to be, you just can't be.
No,
you
that's
just can't
true.
be.
That's true.
So, and maybe this is, maybe they aren't happy with Justin Zanuck, and maybe they're, this is a way to kind of move people in to a situation. I don't know. I have no idea, because everyone, they tell you, oh, this is such a wonderful it's such an amazing group we have here.
Yeah.
We all the kumbaya. We all just love each other.
To kind of go off of your own experience in the NFL, did Don Shula pick all the players?
No. Well, let me give you great point. Okay, this is the best story ever. I've never told. So there's Don Shula.
Yes.
And then there's David Shula.
Okay.
Now David Shula. Now then there's Mike. Okay. So Don Shula hires David Shula. Well, I got to go back before that. David Shula was at Dartmouth, right?
Okay.
And he played football. So he's an Ivy League football player. And he's marginal. He's not bad. And he gets a shot to play for the Indianapolis Colts. Okay. And I don't know if it was a free agent or he's a late round pick or whatever. So David is down in Miami because that's where he lives. And he goes to the Dolphins facility and he asks if some of the receivers at the time can teach him about how to play a wide receiver in the NFL. So they teach him how to get off of press coverage, because that's the biggest adjustment. Or at least it was for receivers, because you play a lot of man, a lot of press coverage in the NFL. So they work with this guy. And David goes and plays a couple of years for the Indianapolis Colts. And he's a nothing burger. He's like, doesn't play. So then he decides to get into coaching. And he gets hired by his dad. And now he goes to Miami, and he's the wide receiver coach. And he's trying to coach the guys who are trying to help him get into the NFL. like they knew way more than he did. And he had no respect. Wow. Now Don goes, you got to be vocal with these guys. You got to coach them up. You got to talk to them. You got to say stuff to them. And they weren't having it. Like they were like, you are never going to tell us anything that we don't know. So in Don Shula's great wisdom, because he didn't do everything right, and this was one of them, he decided to move David as a quarterback coach.
Uh-oh.
So David Shula is going to teach Dan Marino and coach him up.
Oh, God.
And Dan Marino says, unless you've thrown a ball for 10 years in the NFL, do not tell me how to play quarterback in this league. I don't even want to hear it. And so it was bad. And David Shula, fortunately, ended up getting a coaching job with the Dallas Cowboys. In fact, David Shula was a coach for the Dallas. David Shula is why I got drafted by the Miami Dolphins. He worked me out.
Okay.
So he's with the Cowboys. He said, "Hey, we just we have Troy Aikman. We just signed him, but we don't know if he's going to be any good or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. And so he said, so I work out for him, and he's like, this is amazing workout, great. And he tells his dad about it. And he goes, if I was picking a quarterback, he goes, I'd take that kid from Utah. He goes, unbelievable, great workout. That's how I got drafted by the Miami Dolphins. Off of the recommendation from David Shula. So nepotism was a good thing for me.
Okay.
It was a great thing, right? But yeah, so nepotism and that whole idea of blood is thicker than water is, I'm just telling you, it's just not something that I would want to be a part of. And I'm okay, like Kyle Shanahan, it's not like he's there with his dad.
Right.
That's a different story. He's out making his own mark in the world, and a well-respected coach has done a tremendous job. Or some of the Rex Ryan.
Yeah, I was about to say Buddy Ryan's kids.
Yeah, and
Rex and Rob.
Yeah, and I know both of them actually quite well. And I liked them. I really did. But Wade Phillips, of course.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys. So it's kind of one of those things that gets you in the door. And maybe gives you a little extra, maybe like leverage, or it gives you a bit of a pass, because people are like, well, maybe that's what Jazz fans are saying right now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hope that some of the magic of Danny Ainge sprinkled down to his son. I mean, he's got his DNA.
Yeah.
So you have to believe it's there. So it's my only concern, and it could be a real concern. I could be crazy.
Yeah.
But the concern is this if I'm Justin Sanek, is this a move that a nepotism move that like my days are numbered and I might be out the door? Who knows? I don't know. But that just happened for the Utah Jazz. It's they're taking swings.
Mm-hmm.
They've Austin Ainge is well respected. So we'll see what happens.
If he was there and helped the Boston Celtics to a championship, he's got to know something about a little bit of winning, right?
Well, I think, yeah, and it's a good point because it's kind of where I want to go with this a little bit. We have the NBA Finals coming up here in a couple of days. You actually can hear it here on ESPN 700, and which is a cool thing. And you see the two teams in the finals. You see OKC, you see the Pacers, and what Danny Ainge talks a lot about is trends. Mm-hmm. And it's like keeping ahead of the trends. It's like finding and identifying what the trends are, because the NBA has certainly gone in a different direction. Last 7 years, you're going to have new champions, no repeats, no super teams, no hiring. They've made it really hard for teams through the collective bargaining agreement to stockpile, to buy championships. Mm-hmm. And there's this trend in the NBA. And I want to think it's headed in the right direction. I mean, you have Middle America playing in the NBA championship.
Yeah, you do.
You have the flyover states playing in the NBA championship. And I think the NBA, if they ask themselves today, if they ask themselves this question, we got to be excited about this. We have to be happy. And quite frankly, you look at these teams and like, I'm excited to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Tyrese Halliburton against SGA. Yeah. And not only that, and this is where the trend is to me. The trend is, and a lot of these players on these teams, they weren't just drafted by these teams. There's a decent number that are. OKC, they've had a lot of high draft picks and they've done well in the draft, but they've also been really savvy about the trades that they've acquired, and it's really they've really turned out well, which is one of those things. If you're a Jazz fan, you're kind of seeing the model of, okay, this is the trend, this is what we're looking for, and I believe the model in the NBA is about multifaceted players. Mm-hmm. Players that not only can play on both ends of the court, but they can play at different positions on the court. And it's long, it's lengthy, it's athletic, it's big men that can shoot from the outside, it's spacing the floor, and it's all, but it's also playing defense.
Right.
And so you have kind of these two-way players, and I believe that's where the Jazz are trying to go with what they're doing. They're trying to get athletic. They're trying to be, to have these players that have versatility to them. And a lot of times maybe that doesn't necessarily equate to, maybe a superstar, because your team's not going to be loaded with superstars. You just want quality production, quality players that come from a lot of different that they just have different abilities and strengths, and I think it's a bit of a question or a trend, and so you kind of ask yourself, because this is what I always worry about. They go, okay, we see the trend, we see that all these different markets can actually have a shot at winning now. It's not it, and really what it is, which I think is interesting, is it's the league maybe taking back its franchise. It's not necessarily the players, the superstar. I mean, look at Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant he left Golden State.
Yes.
And he left it because he just couldn't handle
the pressure.
Well, he couldn't handle the idea of, it wasn't the pressure so much. It was, wait, I got to be on a team and play a team concept, and because Golden State, although they have superstars, Man, it's all a very team oriented position, and part of it is because of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Because Steph Curry's bought into Steve Kerr.
Yes.
And he's bought into and Draymond and they've all bought into that we're so much more powerful together than we are as individual pieces. And I don't think Kevin Durant.
No.
He's like, I want to be the big dog.
Yeah.
I want my legacy to be that I'm the reason that we won.
Right.
And so he leaves.
Yes.
And he's been a lot of places since then, and it ain't worked out for him.
Nope.
And you're kind of seeing these teams that are saying maybe that's not the place I want to go with my team, is with these superstars. And if I can find a diverser, it's almost like we're going to take 2 or 3 players, and they're going to reach more production than one superstar. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like it. I don't kind of like it. I like it a lot, because I'm a big believer in, the teams that just play great team basketball. Watching Jokic, and maybe that was part of what people saw was this unselfishness from the superstar that really created this dynamic team that could win a championship. Now you need to have the superstar there,
yes,
or something close to it,
Right.
And and there's a big debate with whether Tyrese is a superstar, but he's in the finals,
yeah,
and that sounds pretty super to me.
Yeah, it does.
But what scares me about all of this for the Jazz is they go, okay, hey, we see this trend, let's go do this, and by the time they get it all together, it's not the trend anymore. It's like you missed the trend. And Danny Ainge is actually kind of referenced that.
Yeah.
Where he said you have to be ahead of the curve. You have to be ahead of the trend. You have to kind of see, because this is clearly the trend in basketball.
There's a certain window that you got to capitalize on, otherwise you miss it.
Yeah, and the funny thing, and I can kind of relate this to my experience in the NFL. So when I was with the Detroit Lions, we had a unique personnel group. We had a running back who was scary. Like the scary part about him was, if you handed him the ball, the potential was he could score every time he touched the ball.
Right.
And you got to defend that.
You do.
And how you defend that, you have to employ different techniques, right? And so we were, and what was best, we go, we're going to spread you out. Mm-hmm. We're going to make you play the whole field. We got really good wide receivers on the outside. We got a really good running back on the inside. And we're going to, and you decide. And we believe we're better than you. Now, that coach who had that philosophy got fired. So they brought in a new coach, and the new coach said, nah, that's not my style. My style is big old lineman, couple of tight ends, a fullback, and we're going to run the ball straight at you. And it's like, well, we don't have that personnel here. Like we're like, this isn't who we are. And so I think good organizations. And so then that coach quit. He goes, I've had it with it. So he quits. So now you have these big, beefy offensive linemen, and you bring in a guy Steve Mariucci, who is a guy from the West Coast offense, which is more of what we were actually before. So it's, you spread the field out, you're versatile, you have athletic linemen, that can move, and it's not a pound, ground kind of game. It's a finesse game. Mm. And so they're chasing the trend.
Right.
And they chased it for 20, 25 years until Matt Campbell, not Matt Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell came in. Campbell soup. Any one of them. Just pick a Campbell. What's your favorite Campbell soup, bud? Do you like Campbell soup?
I would say just cream chicken and rice. That'd probably be the one.
Cream chicken of the spinach salad.
Sure.
You're making stuff up. Let me tell you, there's nothing better in life than chicken noodle soup. Campbell. Well, my grandma made unbelievable chicken noodle soup. Unbelievable. Soup was so good. Anyways, it's a grilled tuna sandwich with cheese, grilled tuna melt, and you dip it in the chicken noodle soup. And
Okay.
that bite right there is heaven.
I'm gonna have to try that.
All right. So, and that's what's happened to the Detroit Lions. They found out that they just needed to get a tuna melt and dip it in the Dan Campbell soup, and now they have heavenly bites.
Yeah.
So
Back to your point.
it's so like I'm fascinated with what's happening with the Utah Jazz because they're trying to figure it out. They're
Right.
trying to read trends. They're trying to put the right players together. They're trying to get their coach in place and the front, and the next piece is going to be they're going to have a big time draft pick, and then they have the potential for a trade somewhere or signing a free agent. And I think the players now where they said, hold on just a minute, we don't want to go to a small market team. And now they're like, well, if you want to win a championship, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And the Utah Jazz have a history. They have a cachet about this isn't the worst place in the world to go. I'm just telling you. I think it's the best place, quite frankly. I think Utah in general is an amazing place. Why you would want to live anywhere else, I don't know.
It is very underappreciated. I won't lie.
And I don't even know why I'm saying this on the air because I'm giving away the secret. Wow, Holly Rowe is on. I'm sorry, I'm a squirrel and I saw a shiny object, or I'm a dog and I saw a squirrel. Whatever it is, Holly Rowe is everywhere. Like she's covering NBA basketball, now she's covering women's softball. I mean, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. I don't want to take a break. I didn't want to take a break today. So much fun stuff to talk about. And we're going to the NFL. There's something going on in the NFL. In fact, I'm going to have my agent on tomorrow. So Mr. Tony Aganone is going to come on tomorrow. But today, the NFL is pondering expansion. I have thoughts about that. And have you ever had a dream that you just can never get rid of? And I have a dream. It showed up this weekend. Bothers the heck out of me, and I just can't get rid of it. Maybe there's some psychologist out there, someone who can help me out. We'll figure out that and so much more when the Down and Dirty returns here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 709.21 FM. So glad you could join us. Jalen Brunson, who I really like he's grown on me, but he looks like one of those French bulldogs all the time, or he looks like is the guy actually mad all the time? Because that's what he looks like. He has that kind of resting, I'm angry face. I'm sure there's more vulgar names for it, but he just always looks mad.
He looks like someone took his milk from him early.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the chip on the shoulder when you play kind of thing, but I don't know. It's just I think it's interesting. People and their facial expressions. I think people maybe have said that about. No, I smile all the time. Actually, my demeanor. I'm happy. I'm happy, and then I'm not happy. I'm not happy when I have a dream, and I have this stupid dream. And it happens in different forms, but it comes out, and I don't know, I just need to let it go. But the dream is that I get to go back and play football again, and I go back and I'm in the locker room. I'm super excited, and then I realize I've got to get myself ready because we have practice. So I'm running around the locker room. I'm trying to get all my gear together, and I can't like the locker room's this maze of rooms and corridors and all this stuff, and I can't find out where the equipment room is. And so I have to go 4 miles to get my equipment. And then the equipment is just like odd and hodgepodged. And I go, how do I put this? And I didn't even know how to put it on. It was just really weird stuff. And so I finally get out to practice and they've started and they're just going on without me. And it's like, I never missed a practice. I never was like late for anything. And here I am. I get to come back and I'm late. And then I wake up from the dream. And I've had it for years. And so there's something psychologically wrong with me. And I need to figure out what that possibly is. So if anyone out there knows the answer to this, please let me know, because I want a restful sleep. So the NFL, speaking of not having a restful sleep, imagine if you're the San Francisco 49ers or the LA Chargers or Rams, or anyone on the left coast, the Seattle Seahawks, and you have a regular season game over in London or Spain or Barcelona, and it could be a reality. And I think so the NFL is actually considering seriously, and I think they have for some time, expansion of the NFL into Europe. And am I a huge fan of this?
Yep.
And as I read this, I just got so excited thinking about the potential of this. And I'm sure the NFL thought about the potential. Now, people talk about the money, and so what they want to do is they want to have a 4-team division. So they have 4-team divisions, 5-team divisions in the NFL right now. And so they want to have potentially one European division of the NFL.
Okay.
Does that not sound cool to you?
It does. That sounds interesting.
And here's some of the arguments for it, and is what I just said. If you're going to play regular season games from the left coast, is it the left coast or the
West Coast?
The left coast. Which is the left coast? Is it the East Coast? Is the left coast?
Yeah, that would be New York would be East Coast. San Francisco's West.
Anyways, on the other side of the country, the forgotten side of the country. That's the concern is this travel, and then you get into the playoffs and you have a super long road to get to a playoff game, and there's some logistic issues, and then some of them are like, well how would a kid feel, this young 21-year-old kid having to go live in Spain from wherever, and then there's the taxes because they tax you over in Europe.
Oh yeah, they do.
They tax the tax out of you. So there's certainly logistical problems, but I say, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Who cares about a little extra tax? I'll tell you what companies do, and that's what the NFL should do, which they did. So my sister worked for Nike over in Europe. She was in the Netherlands near Amsterdam, and they paid for everything because they couldn't get people to go over there for that very reason. So they were like, hey, business is good in the other part of the world, so we've got to make – and the NFL could easily compensate for and they would want to. They were talking about that each franchise, the fee to the NFL would be $10 million. So it's a $40 billion – I'm sorry, a $40 billion conglomerate of money just dumped right in the NFL.
Right.
So every team in the NFL would get like $1.2 billion. Every owner. And every owner's going, let's go to Europe.
Yeah.
Europe, we got, like, you know.
No owner's arguing with that.
Now they have floated the idea, and this is another cool part to me. Like, I just think this is the absolute coolest part of this whole thing, is that there's the potential of having a Super Bowl in London or somewhere, you know, over in Europe. But clearly London is probably the most logical place
choice,
at this point. And I believe that the NFL is actually doing its own space exploration program. So if you remember, there was the Gemini program, right? The Gemini program was, hey, can we put a monkey up and let's just shoot him up in the air. Right. And what happens if we just shoot it up in the air? And so that kind of started back in my day, where they said, hey, let's just have a game over in Japan, or let's have a game in Germany, right? And so this is back in the 90s, the NFL started doing this. And then they go, hey, you know what we could do? Which is now like the next, like Gemini, you know, 8 or 9 for the NFL. They go, let's see if we can put a league over there. It's not the NFL.
No.
Right? We're not ready for that. So we'll put together our little league here of the World League, which they did, which was actually very successful. It really was. It was. I'm sad, and I wonder if maybe the NFL decided, yeah, why mess around with the kids' toys? Why mess around with a AAA type of organization when we can just have our league go over there? And so then they got into the Apollo program, right? They Gemini tested out, did all these things, and then they go, we're going to have multiple games over in Europe in a year. And so they've agreed to have 10, right? And the commissioner, his next Apollo move to transition the NFL over to Europe, the next move is this year. And it's where they've got the Minnesota Vikings playing twice.
Yep. 2
weeks in a row. Regular season games in the NFL, 2 weeks in a row in Ireland and England. Which is Ireland independent? Because there's the United Kingdom, which is Scotland, Wales. Is it Ireland? Is it part of Ireland?
So northern
and I guess England.
So it's Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England are United Kingdom, and the independence of Ireland is his own country too.
Because it's independent.
Yes. So
yes.
Well, I wanted to ask you this question. So you say you played in the World League. I wanted to ask this sense of like the facilities. Like, what were the facilities like when you were traveling from Germany to England to Spain? Like, did it? Obviously, it's not the NFL uniqueness of what it was, but did it at all live up to some of the hype?
I mean, my experience was unbelievable. The stadium was awesome. I only played in Germany, so I was there for a week. And we stayed in a hotel. It was a nice hotel. We did travel commercial, which was not fun. And there is a getting used to the time difference, and that's always not fun. I think it's easier when you're younger, though. You know, I don't know. As I get older and travel, the time difference gets me more than at that stage of my life. But it was a great experience, and there was an interest for sure in the NFL, and I would have to believe that if you all of a sudden put a franchise there, you know, think of putting the hockey franchise here in Utah. And now everything's about, let's build youth facilities, let's build youth programs, let's really build up the interest. And I think that's, you know, that might be the way to really accelerate the overall expansion into the rest of the world. Because personally, I think this is a brilliant move. I think it's one that probably will work. And I don't think the issue of, you know, going over there, the logistics of everything are, you know, I think it's stuff. They're just semantics, right? You You just figured all that stuff out. So I really like it. But this whole idea of playing multiple games, and then the next thing, of course, for the commissioner is to get 16 games.
Yep.
Because you get 16 games, you essentially have a season.
Yep.
And I think this is an orchestrated plan by the NFL to just slowly boil a frog in a pot of boiling water until we get professional football over in American professional football over in Europe. And I know there's an appetite for it. I absolutely know there's an appetite, and I believe that appetite will continue to grow, because it's just it's vetted itself out that the NFL is just it's the cash cow of entertainment in the sports world here in the United States. I understand soccer is big in the entire world, and it's a bigger cash cow. But here's the thing with soccer, right? Where's the expansion? I mean, they said the expansion for soccer is in America.
Right.
So they did kind of the reverse thing, and they said, we'll bring Major League Soccer here, and we'll do all of these things, and we'll make it look great here, which they've done a pretty decent job of. So we're looking for the opportunity to go the other way, and I think it's a smart move. I seriously just love the whole idea of everything. Now, the biggest challenge though is it makes a weird number. Like there's four. If they're only going to go with 4 teams, it makes it where you can't, So that's a real problem. And the NFL is really good about rotating through. I know that they can figure it out schedule wise because they have this computer that does all that.
Right.
It's insane how they put together NFL schedules. It's fairly simple. You're going to play your division opponents. You're going to play your conference opponents. You're going to play out of conference so many games, and it rotates through all of the conferences year after year. That's the way it is in the NFL. So having figuring out, to me, I think is the biggest logistical issue. But man, they're ready to take a man to the moon, Martin. Like we are going to take a man to the moon, and it'll be a bigger deal when they actually have an NFL season. Think about like one of the fun things that sports fans do is they do a sports vacation. Like I know so many people that go somewhere so they can catch a game. They'll look at the schedule and they'll go, I want to be in New England so I can watch a baseball game. I can go watch the Patriots play, and then maybe I go to New York, whatever. And imagine the expansion of that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Europe, and we're gonna watch the NFL, and imagine going, it's not just going to the Super Bowl, it's going to Europe to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like I just so you know, I never want to go to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. New Orleans is to me is a dive. I'm sorry, but it's a disgusting cesspool. And what did the comedian? It's a cesspool of built on trash. They have beignets. I get it.
Yeah.
But anyways, but man, when I go to London, when I go to Paris, you go to Paris and get a beignet too, right? Because they have pastries.
True. Yeah. That's where they're from.
So my daughter, speaking of this, really quick, she went with her husband, and they went to England and to France. And she goes, the best food I had was in England. I said, hey, hold on just a second.
Whoa.
Wait a second. Like French food is amazing. And you had better food and I'm like, you just went to the wrong restaurant. You didn't go to the right one. Anyway, she had a good time. All right, we're having a good time here. We're going to take a break because we're going to come back. And I want to talk about the WNBA because I know everybody wants to talk about the WNBA. Shaq had something to say about the WNBA, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. I pray that they do this. When we come back, you're going to hear about it on the Down and Dirty here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. Sit down and dirty here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. I'm Scott Mitchell. We are Utah's #1 sports talk. So glad you could join us. If you missed any part of our show, don't worry. Just download the Down and Dirty. And you can get it as a podcast. You go to ESPN700sports.com or ESPN 700 Sports app. And then you can listen to us at your leisure whenever. Everything we say is forever. It never goes away. So whatever I say on the air stays on the air. And that's how it is. So I use my words wisely, or I use them very unwisely, because that's what gets me in the most trouble. And quite frankly, that's what you all want to listen to, is me getting into trouble.
Right.
I will say I have not been fired yet, and I don't believe I'm close. Martin has not had to dump me once. Do you even know where the dump button is, Martin, if you had to?
I do. I very much do.
He knows the dump button, yes. I know the 5 words I can't say. I never say those words, so we're good. Okay, I want to play this. I'm going to just start off. Shaquille O'Neal is on Angel Reese's podcast. By the way, Angel Reese went to LSU, and so did Shaq. So they're kind of alumni buddies and all this stuff. And Shaq had something so interesting to say, and I wish he was the commissioner of the WNBA right now. So here's what Shaq had to say.
You laughing?
My man is not turned.
Like a pretty girl dunking on the rim. I'm watching that all the time. You laughing?
My man is not turned on by no woman that's dunking.
It ain't about being turned on. It's about seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see.
Oh my God! What you mean not supposed to? There's women that can dunk though.
Why you think people love Caitlin Clark? Besides her skills,
She can shoot threes from logo.
we never seen that before. That's my point. Steph
Okay.
Curry, a little kid like Steph Curry. I love. You know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I've seen it a little bit in Mahmoud Abdul-Roh, but I've never seen a guy consistently come down. And if you look at, like, if you saw Steph on the street, he ain't got the LeBron muscles. He's not 6'9", he's 6'10". He look like a perfect, normally office guy.
Yeah.
But he's doing stuff that people never seen before. She's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA that have done it in spurts, but you know, that game I'm watching y'all in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, like, and I was a hater because, you know, I'm down. She was like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam, like, damn, she's not going to hit that shot. Man, like, if I say 10 times you're not going to hit the shot and you hit the shot, that means you're the truth. So I'm telling you now, if you just lower it like this, right there. I'm not saying go right there. I'm just
Okay, I'm telling you, he is 1,000% right on saying what he's saying. Now, the WNBA wants to hate on Caitlin Clark. I don't get it. It's beyond me. They still want to hate on her. But what he's saying is the exact reason why she's so interesting, because she's doing things that nobody in that league does.
Right.
And it's impressive. And it's part of how basketball is today. The three-point shot is just a big part of basketball. But you know what else is a big part of basketball? The dunk.
Yep.
It is the play in all of basketball. And if you were, I don't care if the basket was at 9.5 feet or 9 feet, you would tune in so much more to watch someone actually dunk a basketball that in a women's sport. It's one. I'm really I'm baffled because they're really pushing and trying to get the WNBA to be relevant.
Yes.
And it's so stupid in my mind why the way they're going about it. And the way they're going about it is trying to create like hatred and controversy and racism and they're trying to create these fierce battles or this, you know, and it just seems like a lot of catfighting. And it's like we don't care about that. We want to see 3-point shots and dunks.
Yeah.
We just do. It's the biggest knock on the women's game is that it's very pedestrian. I mean, there's a lot. You know, Angel Reese. A lot of what Angel Reese can do, you can go watch in a rec league somewhere. I mean, there's a it just doesn't translate well in a lot of ways. Now, the concern for me, if you did lower the basket, like if you would, it would seem like it would kind of impact shooting. Like it would make it feel a little bit different. like you can almost say that like that
It'd be like Pee Wee basketball, like little kids,
right.
right?
And because you don't want to cut off your superstar, Caitlin Clark.
No.
Like it, I would be curious to see it would have to have an impact because you're so caught up in and you're so trained and you're so geared to shoot a 3-pointer in a 10-foot basket. Now the basketball's smaller,
Yeah.
which probably should be, but regardless, you really want to see dunks, but you don't want to mess up Caitlin Clark. So here's my solution. If there's a fast break, if they just had the ability to lower the basket, you can lower and raise the basket based on the situation. So you move it up and down. Like if you have someone going on a fast break, you lower it so that they can dunk it. And maybe if I don't know, after a certain period of time, I don't know if there's a way to move the basket around. Because this is the kind of thing that I think you would really make a huge impact on the sport, and they really need to get away from this whole idea of racism or it's like it's kind of cringeworthy to me, and it's kind of sad to me simply from the standpoint of like Caitlin Clark is a great talent.
She is.
And she's an unbelievable ambassador for the game of basketball for women. Because she's got a great demeanor. She's got a fierce competitor spirit, but she works her butt off. She's this kind of person that's like, you're going to get a steady performance. She's not a one and done. She's not, sophomore slump kind of person. And why you wouldn't want to ride that is absolutely, absolutely beyond me. And it just seems like they've done this so poorly throughout kind of their whole existence. Now, it kind of brings me to another point that I want to talk about before we get off the air. Is this idea of these players? So Odell Beckham Jr., he kind of was, I don't know, a problem, a prima donna. He was kind of a pain in everybody's side. He was maybe a little toxic, and the question is, does a player ever regret that? Is one question. Like you kind of go and you get down the road and you go, man, I wish I would have been a little bit more. But then the question is, well, how long do you put up with it if you're an organization? And you've seen so many guys that what was it? What is it? AJ Brown?
Yeah, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
Yep.
And what you saw with him is people go, we don't care. We don't care because the dude has an unbelievable talent. Like he's such a skilled player. We don't care. So they'll put up with it. They'll give him a second chance. They go, we'll bring him here because we know that Tom Brady can keep him under wraps, which just wasn't ever the case. And it's mind-boggling to me how these guys they just don't appreciate or get like how great this opportunity is for them, and they just kind of have to be an idiot. Now, I think some of them, I think it's their way. I think some guys are, and maybe toxic is the wrong word. Maybe a little bit temperamental is a different word, because you don't get to that level. You don't succeed at that level unless you really work hard and you're really talented. And so I think a lot of it is learning how to work with certain people, but also I think you get these players who, guess what? I'm a young 20-something-year-old, and I make really dumb decisions when I'm young. I really think of where I was at that time, and I thought I kind of, I thought I was a mature person. I thought I was a very well-balanced person. I was a person that wasn't going to be a problem. I was respectful. I at least I thought I was. I think I had my head on straight. Never got into trouble. And yet I feel like, man, I'm so much smarter. Like, I wish I could go back now. And you can't talk to players at that age because they have all the answers. Not only do they have all the answers, but they have all the money. Like, I think money is I really believe it has, maybe it doesn't have a bad impact. I don't know. All right. I'm being told we have to leave, and I don't want to leave. I'm not going today. I'm going to be a problem. I'm going to be toxic. That's what I'm going to do. Fine. We're going to leave. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Of course, check us out at 1 o'clock on 960 or 103.998.3. This is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. Sean O'Connell is coming up next. Until then, we'll see you then.